Hey everyone, JR Foresteros here. It is midnight. I just finished Sex and the City 2, which was the $350 tier for Bad Movie Birthday. I have never seen a Sex and the City episode, never watched the first movie, obviously. So what did I know? I knew it was a show about four single women navigating love and life in New York City, and they're all sort of archetypal. So everyone would say like, "I'm a Samantha" or "I'm a Miranda" or whatever. Um, I had also heard that there was some sketchy stuff about the way this show handled race, given that it was set in Abu Dhabi. So yeah, the movie. I'll speak to the plot first, right? So this movie was incredibly low stakes. There was nearly no real conflict of any kind. It was largely about these four women adjusting to middle-age relationships in various ways. Um, and so I don't know how that plays for fans. It didn't really work for me. It was just incredibly dull. But I don't know if you would feel differently if you'd been attached to these characters and watched them for a long time. So anyone who is a huge Sex and the City fan would love to hear how you felt about this movie. I will say that the Islamophobia in the movie was deeply uncomfortable. There were multiple scenes where they were fetishizing various foreign men, making fun of the women and how oppressed they were, which is like a really gross stereotype that doesn't reflect how Muslim women see themselves. And a lot of like poking fun or making fun of Middle Eastern culture and Islam in general. There were also a few scenes where they dressed in fashions that were like mimicking Middle Eastern garb, so hijabs and burqas and things like that, but they weren't like what you would see a Middle Eastern person wearing. It was more like an American designer like took that, you know, as a starting point. Which again, from what I understand, the fashion was a big part of Sex and the City, so I think that they were meant to be doing that. But weirdly, the scene towards the end where they accidentally interrupt a Islamic women's book club and they all take their burqas and hijabs off to reveal fashions underneath was actually a little bit more consistent with at least what I understand Islamic culture to be like, particularly when it's all females. They also represented the way that the United Arab Emirates treats immigrants from India, Bangladesh, places like that with Carrie's butler. But they didn't really go into it at all. They didn't really expose what a systemic issue it is. And in general, I think I don't know, this whole series just seemed like uh, something that I'm surprised very many people can relate to. Because, like, Charlotte, who has two young kids, and a super hot nanny who turns out to be a lesbian, so it's fine at the end of the movie, because, not a temptation for her husband. Uh, her whole thing is being a mom's hard, and she has a full-time nanny, so she like complains about how hard it is and admits that it would be harder if she didn't. But again, it's like it was just very hard to connect to in any way. I don't think just because I'm a man. So yeah, this didn't feel nearly as escapist as I think a show about hyper privileged people would be, and maybe how the series was. And when you mix in all the rampant Islamophobia on top of it, it was just really dull. None of the jokes were particularly creative. It seemed like they always went for the easiest, low hanging fruit. Yeah, I see why this movie is very poorly reviewed. And again, I'm not a fan of the series or the characters, so I can't say how honest it felt to them. I would say, I guess I'm a Carrie because I'm a writer. I don't know. Maybe I'm a Miranda because I'm pretty type A. It's hard for me to decide. If you have an opinion about who I am, I'd love to hear it in the comments. So yeah, anyway, this has been Bad Movie Birthday, movie number 5. We have unlocked the $500 tier, which is God's Not Dead 3. But before we get there, I have 3 Donor's Choice movies to get through. So we're going to be working on making our way through those over the next few days. And yeah, stay tuned. We're almost to the next Donor's Choice movie, which means if you give, you get to choose what I watch. So anyway, this has gone on way too long, a lot like Sex and the City 2, which was 2.5 hours without a plot. So thanks for donating. See you next time.